Everyone keeps saying $80 games are killing gaming. Publishers are greedy. Gaming is dead. Quote, I'll never pay $80 for a game. Unquote. But here's the thing. I already did. 26 years ago. And I was happy to do it. In fact, I traded almost every game I owned for one game. Vampire the Masquerade Redemption. Looking at it today, the graphics are blocky, the animations are stiff, the combat definitely feels dated. By modern standards, it shouldn't impress anyone. But back in 2000, this game was incredible. Not just because of how it looked, because of what it dared to do. It had a cinematic story, online multiplayer, and a storyteller mode that let one player become the dungeon master of their server while everyone else played adventures they created. Today, we call that user-generated content. Back then, it felt like magic. So every time I hear someone say, I'd never pay $80 for a game, I just smile a little, because I already did. And if you had asked me back then, I'd have told you it was worth every penny. Now, here's where things get interesting, because everyone says games have become too expensive. But have they? Let's take inflation out of the conversation. A $50 game in 2000 would cost roughly $90 today. A $60 game would be over $100. Even many premium-priced games from that era would translate to well above today's standard AAA pricing. So, technically, video games haven't become more expensive in terms of purchasing power. They're actually cheaper than they used to be. So why is everyone angry? Because I don't think price is the big problem. I think the value has changed. Back then, you bought a game. That was the game. No battle pass, no premium currency, no deluxe edition with the content held back, no storefront waiting for you before you even hit the start button. You bought the game, you put the disc in, you installed it, and you played. And if an expansion came later, it actually felt like an expansion. A new storyline, new locations, new mechanics. Not pieces of the original experience sold back to you months later. Now, don't get me wrong. Games today are bigger than they ever have been. Development budgets are massive. Voice acting, motion capture, huge open worlds, thousands of developers. I completely understand why development costs have exploded. I'm not arguing that games should still cost $50. That's not my point. My point is this. Gamers have never had a problem paying for quality. We've always paid for quality. What we've stopped paying for is broken promises, incomplete launches, roadmaps instead of fully finished experiences, monetization designed around keeping us spending instead of keeping us entertained. And that's why I think so many players are turning towards indie developers. Not because indie games are always cheaper, because they often remind us of what gaming used to feel like. Developers taking risks, trying strange new ideas, building games because they believed in them, not because a spreadsheet told them this is going to be maximizing our engagement. Somewhere along the way, gaming stopped feeling like an art form first and started feeling like a business first. Now, every major release talks about monthly active users, retention metrics, the engagement, conversion rates, lifetime customer value. Notice something? They're not talking about games anymore. They're talking about us, players. Because somewhere along the way, the game stopped being the product. You became the product at that point. Your attention, your daily login, your engagement, your FOMO, and probably most importantly to them, at this point, for all of those big giant companies, your wallet. That's what companies compete for now. And maybe that's why trust disappeared. Not because games cost $80. Because somewhere along the way, players stopped believing they were buying a complete experience. I'll tell you, I'd pay $80 tomorrow if someone gave me another experience like Vampire the Masquerade Redemption. And I don't mean another remake. They've done enough of those, and they were not as good. But I mean a complete game. A bold idea. A risk. A world someone wanted to build. Not just another platform designed to keep me spending. Gaming doesn't have a price problem. It has a trust problem. And until that trust is earned back, don't be surprised when more and more players choose passion over polish, and small studios over billion-dollar publishers. So what do you think? Are games really too expensive? Or have we simply forgotten what it feels like to trust the people making them?